Welcome to my tier list. You might see some dancing Ludicolas on screen, but look again. No hints or spoilers, please. That doesn't really apply in this situation. Let's go ahead and boop, minimize that. All right. Everyone knows the best tier list. The best tier for tier lists is in fact A tier. S tier is always like the overrated tier. Like, it's so good that you don't really like it that much. A is so decent that it's the best. That's why A is the best tier. Second best, B, of course, because it goes in order. You got your clearly the best tier, and then you got the middle tier, which is actually better than everything else except the one above it. The next best tier, D. Let me tell you why. The D tier, I was going to say the D tier list, and then I just said the D tier twice. D tier, it makes you realize how many levels there are in tier lists. And D is always the lowest, but it always has the most underappreciated things. And so I'm putting D tier as B tier because it really shows you what kind of depth you can have from something that's S tier to D tier, and that's why D tier is B tier. And fourth, we have S tier. You'd think S tier would be number one. That's not true. S tier is actually C tier. Because, like I said, it's full of the most overrated, obvious choices. Like, everyone can guess what goes in S tier, and that just makes tier lists no fun. Every tier list for S tier has the same things. So that's why I'm thinking S tier should be C tier. And the true loser is C tier. Because D tier, it's the worst of the worst. And they're participating and they're trying their hardest. B tier, you got the average folk. But C tier, that's just below average. It's very forgettable. Nobody cares. I think of all the tiers we can get rid of from this list, it is C tier. And that's why C tier is D tier. Alright. That was my tier list for the tiers